Today we are heading on a wonderful adventure here in Alghero. We will start with a 7-mile bike ride where we will enjoy the beautiful views all around us. Then we will arrive at Capo Caccia and visit the famous Grotte di Nettuno. We will show you everything inside this amazing cave. After that, we will find a little bay close by for a refreshing swim. Finally, we will visit a local agriturismo, which is a restaurant where everything we eat is made right there on the farm. Let's get started.
All right. So this morning I decided to go for a bike ride. What you can see in front of us is Alghero. There you go. And I started down there with my bike, going for a bike ride. It's roughly 7 miles uphill, but it's very, very high, very high. The view is just gorgeous. And you get there, that was a discotheque, what you can see there. I don't know if it's still open actually, but it was a very famous discotheque here in Alghero with a beautiful view down there. There are still many lands that are not utilized. They are still empty. You see all the houses there in Alghero. But then when you get out of Alghero, as you guys can see here, people farm a lot, especially olive tree, for the production of olive oil, which in Sardinia it's one of the best olive oil you can actually get. It's very light but still very flavorful. And this is the view. Now I'm gonna enjoy this downhill after 7 miles uphill.
I have wrapped up my bike ride, and after all this incredible food I've been eating, that bike ride was certainly needed. And then I picked up my family, and we are now heading towards Capo Caccia. It is a gorgeous day, as you can see. The sun is shining, though it is definitely warm. Once we get to Capo Caccia, we will be facing quite a few stairs down to the Grotte di Nettuno, hundreds in fact. So we already know it's going to be quite warm. Alright, we made it. We are at the top of Capo Caccia. The views are already incredible, but the real adventure is just below us, as you can see right there. The cliff is almost 200 meters high, and it is one of the most famous viewpoints in all of Sardinia. Right here starts the path down to the Grotte di Nettuno, and yes, as you saw earlier, it is a lot of stairs, more than 600. That staircase is called La Scala del Capriolo, which means the goat's stairs, and you will understand why very soon. As for that closed gate, this area is part of a protected natural park, so access is controlled to keep everything safe and preserved. At the top of Capo Caccia there is also a beautiful lighthouse. And down there, hidden inside the cliffs, is one of the most beautiful sea caves in the Mediterranean. We are about to go see it. As we start heading down these stairs, you can already see why they are called La Scala del Capriolo, which means, as already mentioned, goat's stairs in the local language. And honestly, it really feels like a path made for goats more than for people. There are around 650 steps in total, carved along the side of Capo Caccia. The cliff itself, it's almost 200 meters high, so we are going all the way down to the sea level. Going down is the easy part. Coming back later is going to be the real workout. This whole area is part of a protected natural park called the Porto Conte Regional Park. It is known for its wild landscapes, clean sea, and rich wildlife. The cliffs you see around us are made of limestone, and they actually formed millions of years ago when this whole area was under the sea. Over time, the water slowly dissolved the rock, creating cracks, tunnels, and eventually caves like the Grotte di Nettuno. This process is called karst formation, and it is what gives the cave its incredible shapes inside. If you look out toward the water, you will notice how incredibly clear it is, and in a few seconds you will see it closely. The colors change from deep blue to bright turquoise, depending on the depth and the light. This part of Sardinia is famous for having some of the clearest water in the Mediterranean. And keep an eye on the cliffs and the sky. You might spot some birds. This area is one of a few places in Italy where the griffon vulture lives. These birds are huge, with wings that can stretch nearly 3 meters, and they glide along the cliffs using the wind. As we keep going down, you can see how the path follows the natural curve of the rock. The staircase was built to make access easier, but it still feels very connected to the landscape. Before this path existed, the only way to reach the cave was by boat. In fact, even today, many people still choose to visit the cave by boat from Alghero, especially when the sea is calm. But walking down like this gives you a completely different experience. You really get the feel to feel the scale of the cliffs. The Grotte di Nettuno were discovered in the 18th century by local fishermen. Imagine finding a huge cave hidden inside these cliffs. It must have been an incredible moment. Also, another interesting detail. Because this area is protected, access is controlled. That's why you might have seen gates or restricted areas at the top. It helps preserve both the natural environment and the wildlife here. As we continue down, just imagine how many people have made this same journey over the years, from fishermen to explorers to visitors from all over the world. We're almost at the bottom now, just a few more steps, and we will reach the entrance. And once we go inside, we will be stepping into a completely different world. Quiet, cool, and shaped entirely by nature over millions of years. As we step inside the Grotte di Nettuno, everything changes almost instantaneously. The temperature drops, the light becomes softer, and the sound from outside disappears. It feels like entering a completely different world. The cave is one of the most famous in the Mediterranean, and it stretches for about 4 kilometers in total. Although only a part of it is open to visitors. What we are seeing here has been shaped over millions of years by water, slowly working its way through the limestone rock. If you look above us, you will see stalactites hanging from the ceiling. These form as tiny drops of water fall slowly, leaving behind traces of minerals. And down below, you will see stalagmites, which grow upward from the ground. When they eventually meet, they form these incredible natural columns. What is really fascinating is how slow this process is. Some of these formations grow just a few millimeters every hundred of years. So everything we see here is the result of an incredibly long natural process. One of the most impressive parts of the cave is the underground lake that you can see right there, called Lake La Marmora. It is actually one of the largest and underground saltwater lakes in Europe. The water is connected to the sea outside, so it rises and falls slightly with the tides. The reflections of the water are amazing. It almost looks like a mirror. In some spots, it is hard to tell where the rock ends and the water begins. The cave was discovered in the 18th century by fishermen, and for a long time it could only be accessed by boat. Even today, many visitors still arrive that way when the sea conditions are right. The name La Grotta di Nettuno comes from Neptune, the Roman god of the sea. And when you are inside here, it really feels like a place that belongs to the sea, hidden, quiet, and powerful. As we walk through, you might notice different chambers or rooms, each with its own shapes and formations. Some of them even have names based on what they look like, because people often see familiar shapes in the rocks. The lighting inside the cave is carefully placed to highlight these formations, but it is also kept subtle to protect the natural environment. Too much light or heat could actually damage these delicate structures over time. The air here is very humid, which helps preserve the formation but can make it feel a bit cooler and heavier compared to outside. And as you walk deeper inside, you can really feel the silence. It is one of the most special parts of being here, just hearing small drops of water and your own footsteps. Places like this remind how powerful and patient nature really is. Everything here has been created without human hand over an incredibly amount of time. We are going to keep exploring a bit more, but already you can see why this is one of the most unique places in Sardinia. It is not just a cave, it is like stepping into a natural museum shaped by water, rock, and time. We have now arrived at the end of the cave, or at least at the end of the area that is open to visitors. We will go back up to all those stairs and we will find a nice space for a nice swim in the ocean. This is a pier, there is a bar, and there is also a pier where again you can go to the caves, as I showed earlier.
Yeah, right here. Yeah.
E questo, this is the pier. So we are in a place called agriturismo. Those are restaurants that are very peculiar, because those kind of restaurants, in those restaurants people are not allowed actually to buy their produces. They need to make them in house. Yeah. Come on, Seba. They need to make them in house. That is the restaurant. They have a lot of land because they need to farm all the animals. I think the only thing they are not required to do is actually to make flour, but other than that, everything else it's something that they have to do. And they have their animals. They process the animal, as you guys can see over there. Here they make what is called maialetto sardo. That is a piggy that is raised here in Sardinia. Again, they have an incredible amount of land in order to raise all the animals. Oh. Now we're gonna get inside. Sì. Hold on. So those are those are appetizer. There is some sausage here, and then here there is ham. Again, they raise the animals in order to be able to call themselves agriturismo. And so this is just a start. More food is coming. There are a lot of other things. And those are just appetizer. This is porcetto, which is a ham, a pork from Sardinia. So we just finished our dinner at the agriturismo. It was really good, and now it's time to go to sleep. Did you guys have fun?
I did.